So today, as you know, everybody's worried about being quote unquote politically correct. And they worry too much about what others think and what others say. But this family is grown up on Thoreau and Emerson and the strength of the individual, and every person decorated in the military is like that. He does what he thinks is important. If he can save his fellow man, he will, and he speaks his own mind. There is freedom of speech. So just want to tell you, today the government is often worried about if they give somebody a medal, it'll spark opposition to the war. And so you'll notice that there are very few medals being given. It's just wrong. But thank heavens today, because people are honoring Senator John McCain and all his suffering that he did. It's calling to attention the importance of the individual who stands up for himself, does not weak, and does not weaken. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit. My favorite uncle was a POW in Japan. He was a B-29 pilot. And those pilots were treated much worse because of all the damage they inflicted on the Japanese cities. So the first thing that happened when my uncle got shot down, his B-29, 11 people shot down over Tokyo Harbor. He was the last to get out. Some of his crew landed on the shore and were killed by the civilians. But he was put into this prison, a special place, and just think about it. 67 days he was beaten with rifle butts. 67 days, one day after the other. Can you imagine? Then things got a little easier. But I mean, things like he had to kneel, like when you kneel on the floor, you put a broom handle and that little notch under your knee, and he would have to kneel like that for 12 hours. But you know what? The neat thing about him and Zamperini, remember Louis Zamperini in Unbroken? He survived. He was strong. He took a lot of punishment, but he made it. So I'm just proud of people that live by their own standards and they don't ask anyone to take care of them. They do it themselves. So John McCain suffered a great deal, and so did my uncle. My uncle lost 72 pounds in prison camp for the year he was there. And another thing, just think about Richard Long. I know it's an unusual name, but he was the ace of aces in the Japanese war theater. He shot down 40 Japanese fighters, and they brought him home because they wanted to preserve him. I mean, how much more could he do? And they made him a hero, but he was a very calm, modest hero, just like Audie Murphy and just like Sergeant York. And that's what's important today, is to recognize our military, what they do. They put their hand up and say, whatever the country needs, I'll do it. And then they're the army of one, or Air Force of one. And they are strong, and I admire them, and I hope you do too. Thanks.